Nothing underpins a society more than the promise of what the future could be. Here we are, hopeful, excited, hoping that it's not another terrible, terrible season. And welcome to my first draft video. This is Pranlier, also known as Lateriser 12. Don't get fooled by this really nice array of history here. My last three seasons have not been the greatest, and I'm hoping to change things this time around. That said, I had a lot of fun playing FPL last year, and I'm hoping to continue doing the same. I was actually planning to do this video maybe Wednesday or Thursday because we have a full-on defense pod going on tomorrow. But was thinking about my team for the last hour and a half. All the thoughts were fresh, so I thought, why not just record this video? If you haven't already seen, check out our first stream. I thought it was a great effort to generalize FPL, give our thoughts on the new rules, give us thoughts on what's changed in FPL, give our thoughts on how that might affect strategy. Speaking of strategy, Prus did a wildcard window / chip strategy 30-minute solo video. It was like watching Hans Zimmer pull off an amazing tune. Just watch it if you haven't already, and if you've liked what we've been doing on this channel, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. Our endeavor is to hit 40,000 subs before the start of Game Week 1. So if you could help us, let me know. Now, what's this video about? Yeah, I mean, it says FPL draft, and there is a draft at the end of it, but this is more about how to arrive to a draft. What's the process? Where do I start thinking, and what will be changing? Just generally, how we can think about teams, start building teams, etc. How Prust's, I mean, I think the first place to start is how watch Prust's 30-minute video, because he does a good job of generalizing the landscape for us. And I spoke to him after his video was done, and we were quite aligned. That said, my adjustment is a slightly more aggressive / agile. He's agile too. He's as good as they come when it comes to FPL managers. But let's get into the swing of things. Before that, just wanted to shout out to Fantasy Football Scout, who made life so easy. They have calculated all the points from last year based on all the rule changes. I'm not going to go through the rule changes again, but click on the link in the description below and become a member of Fantasy Football Scout, because the new data is worth it. They've got new data for defensive contributions. They've got new data for all the clearances, blocks, interceptions, and tackles totaled out. You can filter per 90, you can filter per game, etc. They've recalculated bonus points, everything. So if you become a member, click on the link in the description below and become a member, because it helps us out since we're affiliates. All right, let's get into the swing of things, because I want to try keeping this not too long, aiming for 20 minutes. Right, now what is the wildcard window? As you can see, Arsenal don't have the most obliging start to the season. Game week 3 to 6 is Liverpool away, Forest at home, City at home, Newcastle away. And game week 1 is also United away now. You can see how you want to see that fixture or not. Gyökeres, by the way, FPL announced their price 9 million. Quite interesting. But game week 7 onwards, Arsenal's fixtures are beautiful. And especially 7 to 11 is really nice. 7 to 11 is West Ham home, Fulham away, Crystal Palace, Burnley, Sunderland. Then they've got Spurs at home, Chelsea away in 12 and 13, which is a little dodgy. And then 14, 15 onwards is also nice. City have so-so fixtures at the start of the season. Okay. But game week 6 onwards, it's Burnley at home, Brentford away, Everton at home, which is a good run. And then they've got a tricky 11 and 12 in Liverpool at home and Newcastle away. And then game week 13 onwards is gold dust. Leeds at home, Fulham away, Sunderland at home, Crystal Palace away, West Ham at home, NFO away, Sunderland away. Man, these are such good fixtures. And also, because of AFCON, FPL have given us the opportunity to max out our transfers in game week 15. So you have to max out your transfers in 15, because that way you get the maximum amount of transfers available to you in a season. And then you get 5 free transfers. You get 1 free transfer plus 4 additional transfers in game week 16. What I'm trying to do this season with my team selection videos, sometimes my brain moves a lot faster than my mouth, and I'm mumbling and jumbling through my words and moving from one point to the other. I'm going to try controlling that. Go a little slower. It's fine if it takes a little more time. Similarly with Liverpool, they were a good start to the season. Bournemouth at home, Newcastle, Arsenal is tough in 2 and 3, but 4 and 5, Burnley away, Everton at home, Crystal Palace away. But like City, they've got a great 13 onwards. West Ham away, Sunderland at home, Leeds, Brighton, Spurs, Wolves, Leeds. Which is why Russ told us that Gameweek 13 is looking like a very good wildcard window. Now, that is something I'm in total agreement with. Even Newcastle United have a great run of fixtures, unlike their transfer window at the moment. Gameweek 13 onwards, where they've got Everton away, Spurs at home, Burnley at home, Sunderland away, Chelsea at home, United, Burnley. So ideally, we do need to plan for a wildcard 13 because you have to use your wildcard by the time Gameweek 19 happens. You have two sets of chips if you didn't already know. An extra bench boost, an extra free hit, an extra wildcard, an extra triple captain. You have to use all 4 chips during Gameweek 19 or before. And similarly, you'll have an extra set of chips Gameweek 20 onwards, which is the usual fare. Let's talk about Chelsea. Chelsea have a decent start to the season. Palace home, West Ham away, Fulham at home. It's decent. It's not the best because these are 3 middling Premier League teams. Then they've got Brentford United away, Brighton at home. So it's middling start. But their great fixtures start Gameweek 9 onwards, where they've got Sunderland, Spurs, Wolves, Burnley, Arsenal, Leeds, Bournemouth, Everton. Already spoke about Newcastle. Spurs have a great start to the season. They've got Burnley at home, then a tough fixture in Gameweek 2, City away. Then they've got Bournemouth at home, West Ham away, Brighton, Wolves, Leeds, Aston Villa, Everton. At the moment, we don't know much about Spurs. But one thing that needs to happen and come. I've spoken to a lot of FPL people, right? And we have a perception where the Spurs defense is there for the taking because it's Ange. Spurs, okay, your attack facing a Spurs team will get 4 goals. No, they're facing a pragmatic, agile, Thomas Frank managed Spurs now. So that perception needs slight adjustments in our head. So think about that. Aston Villa has a good start of the season. First one is tricky, Newcastle at home, but they've scored, I think, some 9 or 10 goals in the last 3 home games against Newcastle. So they do well. 8 goals in their last 3 home games against Newcastle. That's an average of 2.5-ish. More than 2.5. So really good. They do well. Then they've got Brentford away, Palace home, Everton, Sunderland, Fulham, Burnley. The first 3 weeks, there's not much Europe to worry about. Then there's an international break. Then there is Gameweek 4 onwards. You start worrying about Europe as well. United has a decent Gameweek 2 and 3. Then they've got a bunch of tough fixtures. And then they have decent fixtures Gameweek 12 onwards as well. So when you're starting to analyze your team, there are a few things that you need to start thinking about. You obviously have to start thinking about captaincy and which teams are you lacking for the fixtures. And when are you thinking of maybe using your wildcard, etc. So, Pras mentioned, right, that Liverpool, Manchester City and Newcastle United have great fixtures Gameweek 13 onwards. Well, if you go back a little, let's say Gameweek 8 or even 10, it's not bad for City. City got Everton at home in 8. They've got Aston Villa away in 9. Bournemouth at home in 10. Liverpool and Newcastle. 11 and 12 is tough for City. Liverpool, it's not bad Gameweek 8 onwards. United at home in 8. Brentford away, Villa at home. Then they've got a dodgy 11 because Liverpool and City play each other in 11. Then they've got Forest at home. So if you're going to go Liverpool and City heavy on your wildcard, it's not the worst idea to be agile and if form and picks so dictate, you can wildcard Gameweek 8, 9, 10 whenever your team allows it. Right? So you have to be a little agile and flexible thinking about when you want to wildcard. And why this works into a wildcard window is because Gameweek 9 onwards, Chelsea's great run starts. And Gameweek 7 onwards, Arsenal's great run starts. So if you're a little late on Arsenal, let's say you ignore West Ham at home and Fulham away, you can start getting your Arsenal defenders from Gameweek 9 or 10 onwards, where they have a good run of fixtures. The only thing that Press really wants to talk about is that, Gameweek 13 onwards is absolute gold dust for City and Liverpool. And Gameweek 15 or 16 will sell Mo Salah. So that allows us to redistribute funds. So you'll want 5 or 6 expensive picks from these two teams. Maybe that means you might not have space for, let's say, a premium from Arsenal and Chelsea as well. So think about these things. Big picture, I didn't write it down as a note, but I was talking to Watch from FPL also. One thing is, we've got Salah, we've got Haaland, but outside of that, we've got Isak potentially at Liverpool. We've got Gyökeres, we've got Palmer, we've got Wirtz. Effectively, there's just a lot more premiums that you might want in this game, which tells me that I think team value this season might be more valuable than previous, especially because look at this run Gameweek 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whenever you want to talk about it onwards. Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool and City, the best 4 teams in the league, in my opinion, have a good enough fixture. So you might want to start building a little team value as well. You need to get lucky here. I'm also thinking from a playstyle point of view, I want to start accumulating a few transfers. And I think transfers used in spurts of 3, 4 have more value than using one free transfer, two free transfers. But team value matters. These are all thoughts. These are all early thoughts. It's very early days. I've been thinking about the game only for 5, 6 days. But just letting you know different points of consideration as well. You've got Watkins as well. There's a lot of, like, you could want a team with Salah and Haaland maybe in 13. But then do you want Palmer also? Or do you want Gyökeres also? That's going to be expensive. In addition, you want premium defenders from these teams also. That's going to be expensive. You might need to build team value or sacrifice elsewhere. That's one thing. Also, the second thing, what this means is because you have a good enough fixtures from these 4 teams, 9, 10 onwards, you have to use a bench boost in the first 19 weeks. It's going to be very, very difficult to use a bench boost with wanting to target these 4 teams and spreading your funds out through the 15. No, I think when you wildcard, you'll want a minimum price keeper, you will want a 4.0 defender, and you might want a 4.5 million midfielder or forward. You can afford to go thin because you'll want to constrict your funds for a little while, and then you can start redistributing your funds game week 15, 16 onwards when Salah leaves. For greater squad depth, what that happens is that coincides with Christmas, and it allows us for tackling rotations, etc. that happens during the Christmas period, which is game week 15, 16 onwards. That plays into our hands. Right, so game week 7 also marks a great run for United, by the way, because they've got Sunderland at home in 7. So try building the aim is to try building a robust team for the first, in my head, what I'm trying to do is for the first 10 weeks, but I'm agile 7 to 13. Like if need be, I will not hesitate to wildcard, especially because we have the buffer of having 5 free transfers in game week 16. And we have the buffer of having an extra free hit as well. So that's big picture I wanted to talk to you. Now, when we start building our team, captaincy is the first thing we need to think about, right? That's how we'll start picking up premiums or the most important picks in the game. Now, Liverpool have Bournemouth at home in game week 1, which is great. Haaland has Wolves away, which is good. And then Haaland is a captaincy option maybe in game week 2, in game week 3, in game week 4. It's not a captaincy option in game week 5 when he plays Arsenal away, and then a great captaincy option in game week 6. Liverpool, Salah is a good captaincy option in game week 1 where he's got Bournemouth at home. Then not a great captaincy option game week 2 and 3. And then he's covered 4 and 5. If you're looking at game week 2, Cole Palmer is a decent captaincy option, West Ham away. But the standout captaincy option is Leeds at home. So it's going to be either Saka or Gyökeres. So you need to start planning how you're going to tackle game week 2. Are you going to free hit in game week 2? Or are you going to have an Arsenal attacker for the captaincy? Or you're okay with Cole Palmer being a captain West Ham away? If I remember correctly, he did really well West Ham away. I think Jackson and Palmer had a great game against West Ham as well. So that's not the worst option. And if nothing, you can always default to Salah as a captaincy option. It's never the worst thing. He's good. He's a big game player. Doesn't matter. That said, when we do the premium players pod, there's lots of there's so many moving pieces when it comes to attack, right? If Isak goes to Liverpool, which I think it'll happen, how does that affect Salah? Because there will be a goal scoring share, but a lot of the chances that Salah creates will go to a legit world class finisher like Isak. So his assist level will go up, but his goal share might go down. How does it affect Isak? Isak will get a lot more big chances. But will his minutes be managed as Ekitiki there, going there just to sit on the bench? How will that impact words? There's so much to learn. That's why maybe it takes 6-7 weeks just to see how these dynamics are working out. Go with the safer picks maybe at the start of the season. What happens to Saka when Gyökeres is there? Who's going to take the pens at Arsenal? They automatically become a pick, whether that's Saka or Gyökeres. Who's the penalty taker there? It's important. There's a quote floating around where Arteta said that yes, he'll be involved because his record of 19-19 is great, but it depends on what the group decides. So we don't know at the moment. So my thinking is, from a captaincy point of view, I do want to see if I can get a captaincy option in game week 2 from Arsenal. I want to see if I want Salah to start the season. He's just the fittest of them all. That's why he tends to do really well at the start of the season, because he's just naturally much more fitter than everybody else, in my opinion. And then it's much easier to sell the most expensive player in the game than to buy him, right? So it's a sort of safety mechanism as well. And I don't mind starting the season with Palmer as well. And I don't mind having these expensive players at the start of the season because I think your squad is more flexible this way. You can move into anybody. But Pras spoke about a game week 6 free hit because he might go big on Arsenal. And he might not have City to start the season, right? So what do you do about game week 6? Burnley at home for City. That's a big fixture. You either free hit or you plan for it. How do you plan for it? Game week 6 onwards, the fixtures for Palmer read Brighton at home, Liverpool, Forest. The fixtures for Salah read Chelsea away, United home, Brentford away. Not the best. So, do I want to dovetail and do I want to get Haaland in place for Burnley, Brentford, Everton? Yes, I think so. That means I don't mind getting an expensive striker or like a mid-price striker in my place. It's just easier to move to Haaland when I sell one of Salah or Palmer. So I was thinking that's why maybe I want to try building a draft with Gyökeres, Salah, and Palmer first, and then work around the wheels, etc. Now, when it comes to building my attack, a lot will depend on what we see in preseason, which we'll see none of when it comes to Chelsea and City, because they only have one preseason game, if I'm not mistaken. But what do I want to do with my other picks, etc.? I don't know, but this is just a loose idea. Tomorrow I'll come up with another idea and start building another draft, but just letting you guys know what my thought process is like. So like I said, I'm going to focus on the first 10 fixtures with an agile point of view towards my wildcard between game week 7 and 13. The Spurs have a good run of fixtures. Sunderland have a good run of fixtures if you can spot a player or two. Wolves have a decent run of fixtures. Forest have a really nice run of fixtures. Brentford at home, Crystal Palace away, West Ham at home, Arsenal, Burnley, Sunderland. That said, Forest, right? Europe will start affecting them in week 4 onwards because they don't have a very deep squad. But the first 5 weeks, 6 weeks, there's clean sheet potential decent in Brentford, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Burnley, Sunderland. Then 7 onwards, it's a little dicey. West Ham have a decent run of fixtures. Van Bissaka was great at the end of last season. Kilman does well on defensive contribution points as well. Brighton have a decent run of fixtures. Somebody like Welbeck is on my list. They've got a lot of these 5.5 million mids. If you can spot who the right one is, that could be interesting. De Kuyper is interesting. Kadioglu is back. That could be interesting. Everton have a great run of fixtures and they've got a new stadium, so they could be motivated and got some decent price picks, which is why currently Enda is in my draft. Looks like a minute monster. I think he's their best attacker and on penalties in my opinion. So he's like a good pick, 6.5 million. Don't need to worry about it. As far as possible, I want to try picking robust players, especially in defense, which means I want to try picking center backs, so nail players. How we treat City and Chelsea is anybody guess. Yes, they gave us information in the Club World Cup, but I think a lot of that, especially when it comes to City, was experimentation in terms of what he wants to do with his team. And I don't think one preseason game is enough to judge. Take your time before jumping too much in them. That's why Chelsea also, a lot of people are going for Pedro. Yes, he did really well in the last 2 games, but they've got strikers there. Delap's not going to play 0 minutes. Jackson's still there. Pedro's not on penalties like he was at Brighton, so I'm just happy going with Palmer or nobody. And Palmer could become Saka also at the moment. Villa have actually a very good run at the start of the season. They've got Newcastle at home, which they do well at. Brentford, Palace, Everton, Sunderland, Fulham, Burnley. So Watkins, Konsa, Morgan Rogers, great picks. Game week 30 to 38 last year, Rogers had the most number of big chances. Just an interesting stat. Keep an eye on Thiago if Visa goes. 6 million striker if you're in the market for a cheap one. Liverpool have a good run of fixtures. We spoke about that. One dilemma or conundrum I have is Palace. I like the team, but if Eze goes, does that mean they might have the Olise effect and start slow? But they looked sharp in the preseason game. Their start is not great. They've got Chelsea away in game week 1, but Palace will have maybe 2 weeks more of preseason. Then they've got Forest at home. Then they've got Villa away. And they've got Sunderland, West Ham, Everton, Bournemouth. So do I compromise on my favorite asset, Daniel Munoz, or pick him? That's a worry. But if I'm looking to bench boost game week 1, which you need to do, because if you're thinking of a wildcard game week 7 to 13, you want to spend your money on the pitch, not spread around, which means you can't be having a bench boost, which means I want to get rid of it game week 1 to 5. Just want to try getting rid of it. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to get a double game week, and I don't think I want to be handcuffed by a bench boost when I'm wildcarding. I just want to spend my bench boost before a wildcard so that I build my wildcard, spending more money on the pitch, especially when there are so many more premiums to think about. So those are some initial thoughts that I had, which is why you start thinking of, like, if I'm thinking of a Salah, Gyökeres, Palmer team, what are the open free hit windows, right? Game Week 2 is interesting if you don't have an Arsenal player, because you can go triple up Arsenal. You could maybe get one or two cheapies from Burnley in there. You could go triple Chelsea if you want. But I just feel like it's too early to free hit. And why is a good week to free hit? Because Liverpool have a tough game against Newcastle away. And Spurs, who are going to be popular if you're bench boosting in Game Week 1, have a game against City away. And if you don't have City, you can get players too on your bench, on your free hit too. Against City will be playing Spurs at home. Game Week 3 is interesting for a free hit. Again, why? Because Arsenal and Liverpool are going to be popular picks Game Week 1 and 2. Or on your first team, play each other. And you can get, should United show form, you can get a couple of United attackers. You can get Bruno, Cunha, Dogu. You can get Newcastle attackers who play Leeds away. You can get Forest if you're not gone heavy on Forest Game Week 1. You can get Chelsea attackers who play Fulham at home. And you got, if you're not gone big on Aston Villa, they play Palace at home as well. So it's a nice window. Game Week 6, Pras already pointed out, because City play Burnley, and if you're not going heavy on City Game Week 1, then this is a great window for free hitting, especially because Liverpool have a decent fixture against Palace away, and Arsenal have a tough fixture against Newcastle away. Game Week 11 was an important wildcard free hit window I mentioned, because City and Liverpool play each other, which is interesting. So if you're not going heavy on that wildcard on Arsenal and Chelsea, for example, and going very heavy on Liverpool and City, you can decide to free hit in Game Week 11 and go heavy on Arsenal, who play Sunderland away, go heavy on Chelsea, who play Wolves at home, Aston Villa play Bournemouth, Crystal Palace play Brighton at home. That could be interesting. I don't want to be, as of now, my thought is I don't want to be very stuck on when I want to be free hitting. There could be a time where your player's got red carded and is out for 2 or 3 weeks and you don't want to sell him, or a player's injured, or a couple of injuries have happened and you don't want to sell them, you want to roll over the transfer. Then you can save it for a rainy day. You don't have to, right? Unless you're going with a sort of super duper deeply planned strategy where you know when you're going to free hit, right? So those are my thoughts. Just bench boost. The two options that I played around with when it comes to bench boost is Game Week 1 is obviously an option, which means Spurs, who have good fixtures in general. You go with a Van de Ven, Kudus is an option, Solanke is an option. West Ham also have decent fixtures towards the start of the season. Everton have decent fixtures to start the season. Sunderland have decent fixtures to start the season. And Forest have decent fixtures to start the season. You can start building your team around your fringe picks around these, which is effectively building a robust squad for the first 5, 6, 7 weeks anyway. And you've got decent bench boost options in Game Week 1. The likes of Van Bissaka, Van de Ven, etc. They enable a nice bench boost. If you can find good Leeds picks, if you can find good Sunderland picks, Sunderland play West Ham at home. First game under Stadium of Light, Leeds are playing at home against Everton at home. There's some decent options to bench boost Game Week 1. Just the other alternate that I thought of was bench boost 5, because I like Forest at the start of the season. They play Burnley away. Villa have a good start of the season. They play Sunderland away. Wolves have a decent start of the season. They play Leeds at home. Liverpool, if you're tripling up on, have Everton at home. I thought of this because I was like, when can I bench boost and get Munoz? Game Week 5 was something I thought of where you can, not ignore your Palace picks who have tough fixtures in Game Week 1 and 3. Fulham, Anderson is 4.5. He does really well on the DEFCON points as well. Good squad option to have. He plays Brentford at home. Game Week 105 are decent windows for bench boosting. The only thing is, let's talk about the pros and cons of bench boost 1 versus 5. Bench boost 5 means you're still thinking about transfers for bench boost 5 until Game Week 5 emerges. You're not freely reacting to form and making transfers, etc. as well. Yes, idealistically, you're building a robust team and you want to hold on to your transfers and all of that. But your mind is going to be stuck on bench boost 5. Bench boost 1, handcuffs are on Game Week 1 and you're done. Then you start playing FPL and don't worry about your 4th and 5th defender and your 7th and 8th attacker and your second keeper. It just doesn't matter. Start effectively building towards a team. If you want to try saving your wildcard, you can start doing that. Focusing transfers, which enable you to push your wildcard to Game Week 13 if you just finish your bench boost in Game Week 1. So these are the two thoughts that I have towards bench boost 1 or bench boost 5. Right, before I show my team, if you guys want to be more so a part of our ecosystem, we're building a fun Discord where we start doing content. We do a Q&A with our Discorders every week for at least 45, 60 minutes. And there's 3 of us on the pod, right? So we maybe try doing it twice a week, etc. as well. It's just a fun place to be. I think Game Week 1 is the best time to join. Scan the QR code and join us, support us. And there's a 2-month off on a yearly membership as well, if you're looking for like a discounted thing. Right, defense chat. So I currently build a squad thinking about bench boost 1, and Van Dijk is in there because he's got great clean sheet potential. And look at Baker's beautiful chart. He's got great clean sheet potential, and he gets DEFCON points in 30% of the games he starts in. So I'm happy to take that on. And he's good for 3 or 4 goals a year as well. So I like Van Dijk. The only thing I worry about is with Frimpong, who's not playing as right back at all in preseason, by the way. And Kirk is effectively a new defense. How robust that defense will be. It's sort of lopsided, the Liverpool team. We'll talk about to Josh later in the season. We'll see how he feels about that. Forest, happy to play all weeks except for Game Week 4 and Game Week 7. Outside of that, they're decent plays all weeks. West Ham, Van Bissaka has potential both sides of the pitch. And Van de Ven, because I'm looking to bench boost 1, he's got Bournemouth. So I can go for a wing back. These are just pieces in the puzzle. Also, I just want to talk a little bit about which Forest defender to go for. And Baker in his beautiful chart mentioned that Murillo hits the 10 clearances box, interceptions, tackles threshold in 53% of the games. So he gets 2 extra points in 53% of the games. Milinkovic gets it in only 35% of the games. But I just wanted to show you this table. This is the second half of the table that you see from Fantasy Football Scout. Become a member, link in the description below, because they've got DC points there. And you can filter by periods, etc. as well. Murillo got 24, so he hit 2 points in 12 out of the 18 games he started towards the second half of the season, and Milinkovic got it in 11 out of the 19 games he started. So it's not too much of a difference. But what's the difference? Attacking returns. Milinkovic got 4, Murillo got 1. Milinkovic is just a much greater set-piece threat. And there wasn't a much big difference. So at the moment, I want to go with Milinkovic instead of Murillo to start the season with if I'm thinking about Forest defense. And we'll talk about defense in detail tomorrow. We've got like a deep dive pod on defense tomorrow. Make sure you're hitting like and subscribe and clicking the notification button. That's Baker's beautiful chart. Van Dijk hits high percentage of cleans, high percentage of DEFCON points. Guardiola, high percentage of, we're going to discuss this tomorrow. So I'll just go to my team. That's why I built this team. I said the starting point would be Salah, Palmer, and Gyökeres. Salah's going to be my captain Game Week 1, not Palmer. Forest have a good start of the season. That's why I've got Milinkovic, Williams, and Wood. Williams hits a higher percentage of DEFCON compared to Enna. Bergruben and Kinski. Kinski could not be a pick as we find out who Frank likes as his keeper. Van de Ven and Van Bissaka because they're great for a bench boost 1. Rogers is a great pick start of the season. Nailed on, great for minutes. And same nailed on, great for minutes and on pens. We also don't know who's going to be on pens at Aston Villa. Could be Rogers, could be Watkins, could be Tielemans. I've got Wood and Beto. This is just mainly about structure, right? Wood and Reindeers could be Anderson, who's highly spoken about in the community, and could be Solanke. There's many 5.5 million, 6 million midfielders that we just have to keep an eye on, whether they're Sunderland picks, Leeds picks, Brighton picks. We don't quite have enough information. So this attacking selection will depend on what we see in preseason. It's just about having to think of a process, and this is what a bench boost 1 structure could look like. I'm really, really tempted by Munoz, but he's got a poor first 3. I need to BB5, but I want to keep the handcuffs off. Bowen interests me because he's got a great fixture Game Week 1. He looked really sharp in the preseason against United. So I could, go Bowen instead of Wood, turn Reindeers into Anderson. So that could be a structure and chop off 0.5 million from somewhere. This is the first loose draft. The problem with it first loose draft is Game Week 2 is not the prettiest, man. Like, your Forest defenders have Crystal Palace away, not the best fixture. Van de Ven has City away, Van Bissaka has Chelsea at home, Virgil has Newcastle away. So the defense doesn't have a great fixture. So maybe I throw in a Colville or something like that, or Shaloba, Cucurella. That's the problem. Game week 2, or just take game week 2 poor performance on the chin, hope they get 2 defensive contribution points, and hope to get lucky. I think that's it with my team selection video, and I kept it to 30 minutes. Oh, wow. But if you saw this video, you realize it's not more about the selection, because I think the attack will select itself. It's more about process and thinking and where your head is, and start having a construct in your head in terms of how you want to build your team. Play around with it, spend time looking at the fixture ticker, go to the fixture ticker, see what game week bench boost might be an option, see where you want to sort of wildcard, all of that, right? And I hope you find this video useful. Please hit like and subscribe, and let me know if I was able to go slow and properly construct my thoughts and give it in a calm, peaceful fashion. I'm trying to work on myself. Take care, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Good luck, guys.